For Chiefs Broncos, I got Broncos winning 24-13.
I think the Chiefs are about to get shut out.
No.
I got 21-0.
21-0 is crazy. Not even a field goal? That's crazy.
No. Harrison Butker ain't been making them. I saw
Okay.
somebody say he need to stay in the kitchen.
If you can't tell by Samaria's sweater, clearly it is Christmas, and we got some big games on the slate today. Now, in the past, Christmas Day was for NBA, but now the NFL has absolutely taken it over. We have three kind of interesting games, depending on who you root for. First game of the day I want to talk about with you, my sister Samaria, is Cowboys and Commanders. Struggle Bowl. What do you think is the outlook for this game, man?
Now, before we get into the games, though, Rodney, I do want to talk about that. We know that we saw the first NFL games last year with the Beyonce Bowl. It was huge, right? Like Netflix really put a lot into production. I think that there was like some issues maybe with streaming on some of the games, but it seems like Netflix specifically really wants to come in and take over a little bit. It's going to be very interesting because they only got one game a year. But yes, before we get into that, are you okay with watching football, or do you feel like football should be for Thanksgiving and then we should have basketball on Christmas Day?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. You know I'm a hooper at heart. You feel me? But so I actually like this year's NBA's slate of games more than I like the NFL slate of games. And this slate of NFL games is tough, right? And this is why the NBA should not be afraid to go head up against the NFL, because things can turn so drastically one year after another in the NFL, right? Like the teams that you think were going to have a lot of success, in a particular year may have just one injury and change the whole trajectory of their season. We thought the Commanders would have a pretty good season this year, right? Yes. Jaden Daniels has been injured quite often. The defense that I thought was going to be stout has been kind of porous, if we can be honest. So
right. They added some weapons to their offense. I really thought Washington was going to be good. And if you look at all of these games, if you're Netflix, when they were doing the scheduling, these are going to be three really, really good games. And I think that that's something, like you just mentioned, with the NFL that kind of is their Achilles heel, because with basketball, the stars are the stars. Yeah. Like, regardless of what the Lakers are doing, we're going to want to, unless they're injured, right? But we're going to want to see LeBron, right? We're going to want to see Luka, regardless of who they're playing. And so that's the bad thing with the NFL is like these games, unfortunately, for a few of them, don't really mean anything. Both Washington and Dallas have been eliminated from playoff contention. So they're kind of just playing. And you really got to just be a fan. There's a lot of Cowboys fans out there. But we were expecting this to be a really big NFC East matchup, and it's not.
Yeah. You would think that this late in the season, a division rivalry game would actually have some stakes, on the line. We'd be playing for something. Somebody be playing for a chance to play in the postseason. And for that to not be the case, this is really just about people who live in Washington, the Washington, D.C. area, and anybody around Earth who's a Cowboys fan. Other than that, I don't really know what the vested interest is in seeing a 3-win team, play football. It's just not, it's not arousing for me. I'm not aroused. And so, at this point, I'm pretty much going to probably be in the kitchen figuring out what I'm fitting to cook while this game is on. And it'll be background noise, but it won't be anything that'll hold my attention if we're being all the way honest. And that's a shame. The NFL and the NBA need to figure out how to flex out of games that don't matter, especially during a pivotal point in the season where games that matter should be showcased, right? Because the NBA has this at times too. If you get the Milwaukee Bucks getting ready to take on, let's say, the Golden State Warriors, and then Steph Curry and Giannis Antetokounmpo aren't playing, we don't want to watch that. And so kind of a similar thing with the NFL. Like, games that don't matter should be flexed out of national television spots, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just hard because it's a Thursday game and, you know what I mean? There's like so many moving parts. You would have to tell a team like, okay, yeah, you had a long week, a normal week. Now you have a shorter week because we want you to play on Christmas Day. But I think that there's probably some matchups. And honestly, I kind of want to pull them up. So we have the Texans-Chargers are playing on Saturday, which would not be a horrible game. Houston
I would love to see that.
Really playing good right
well
now. Like this is a big AFC matchup. And then you have the Ravens-Packers. Now, the Ravens are doing good, but this is like historically like a good game too. Like, it seems like Baltimore is kind of turning the corner. They've stacked on some wins. Green Bay obviously is Green Bay. For Sunday, you have the Cardinals, Bengals. No. Steelers, Browns. No. Saints, Titans. No. Now the Jaguars, Colts.
It's just the Phillip Rivers factor to me. At this point, it's like, all right, I'll watch this to see what this old ass man is going to do behind center. But again, a lot of these teams, this NFL season hasn't been. Let me be honest, yo. Let me be honest for a second. Can we keep it a buck, me and you? This has not been the best NFL season, right? Like, it just has not been the best football that we've seen played in the NFL. A lot of the offensive numbers are down. We're seeing stars getting injured left and right. A lot of the teams who came out of the gate scorching hot in the first couple of weeks of the season are now struggling to stay afloat. And we really don't have like a clear-cut best team in the league at this point. And, maybe you say the Rams. I don't. It's just like a pot of mid. It's a hodgepodge of mid. Okay, it's a mid gumbo that's going on in the NFL this season. And so it's hard for these things to matter, especially not for some people, fantasy football being over. But we will talk. Let's break down the games that are on the Christmas Day slate at this point.
Okay, because there was two other games that was good now. There was two other games that was good. Eagles, Bills, and Bears, 49ers. Those are two other games. But the problem is you're fighting also with NBC and with Fox and with CBS. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants the games. Yeah. So Netflix, it seems like maybe they had first dibs. And like we just said, at the beginning of the season, maybe that was great. But now we're at a point where it's not.
Just like choosing the wrong wife. Overcommitted too quick.
You're always talking about a wife. I feel like you're going to get married. I see that in your future.
Let's pray about it.
That's my Christmas wish for you. So the next game. This game is a little bit better. Vikings, Lions in Minnesota. Minnesota nor Detroit has been ruled out of playoff contention. So they're both still in the hunt. But Minnesota has not, for some reason, which is very strange to me, that Minnesota has not been the team that I thought they were going to be. Like, I'm like, okay, they got JJ McCarthy now. Like, this is like his real first season. He got to sit back and watch last year as he battled injuries, right? So he didn't really have like the whole rookie thing.
Which is why I had low expectations for them, to be honest. Sorry to cut you off, but that's why I didn't have high expectations. I'm like, they had pretty much a rookie quarterback and who hasn't played in a whole year. That's always tough. Sorry, you were saying?
No, you're right. Because that's what we're seeing. I thought that they would have had a better record. I don't know. So they're playing Detroit. They're hosting Detroit. Detroit also is a team that is like thought that they were going to come off that loss to Washington and be a little bit better than they are.
You're our Lions insider. You're our Detroit Lions insider. What do you think has gone wrong for the Lions this season?
Injuries. Okay. Well, actually, there's two things. They have to replace both of their coordinators. That is really hard to do, right? Both of their coordinators are now head coaches. And then you got Ben Johnson over here in Chicago lighting it up, right? Like, Chicago looks great. Who would have thought? So that was the first thing, because they really kept like a lot of their position coaches, but then they got a new offensive coordinator. So I think that there was like some growing pains with that, which we could see because now Dan is calling the plays. We see him with the glasses on the sidelines, all of the things. But then they had like some really key injuries on defense. Like their whole secondary has been blown up.
Is anybody slated to return?
I don't think so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think that their safety's gone. They got one corner. Well, they did have one cornerback come back, but then they had another cornerback say, I'm done for this season. So they call it like the Legion of Whom. Like, who are these people that are playing? You know what I mean? Like, seriously, It's like they're getting these practice squad dudes. They're trying to find people from other people's practice squads to come in and play in a division that's
it's tough. It's a tough division this year for sure.
And I think they also needed to give Aiden Hutchinson some help on the other end. All of these things kind of play a factor. But yes, both of these teams have something to win. I think that this is a must-win game for both of them to keep their playoff hopes alive, depending on what happens the week before.
It'll be interesting to see if Detroit can kind of play the reverse of their season from last year. Came out, piping hot going into the playoffs. Everybody was expecting them to really be the team representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. But this year having a sluggish start, maybe not playing well, but towards the back end of the season, they can string together some wins. It'll be interesting to see how this team that does have a lot of fight and does have a lot of talent still, especially on the offensive side of the ball, if they're able to get hot and maybe go into the playoffs. It's kind of a overlooked underdog and sneak by some people. I can see that. The Lions being the underdog makes a lot more sense than the Lions being the front running team in the NFC to me, just based on the culture and the history of the team. Like that just feels like the more Detroit Lions way of going about things.
Yeah. And that's something that Dan has said too. He's like, maybe we have to go the unconventional route because when we were great, it did not work out for us. You know who I feel really bad for? Justin Jefferson.
Terrible season. Anybody who drafted him in fantasy football is sick this year. Sick. Oh my gosh. Terrible.
I feel so bad for him because I'm just like, he just, I just know he has to be like, yeah, I'm getting paid, but dang. You know what I mean? I don't know.
But this is why you can't pay receivers that much money. This is why having a receiver on your books, taking up so much cap space is risky, because if you have a quarterback who's having a down year, bad year, quarterback injury, then that's pretty much wasted money. And I want people to get paid, of course, for sure. I want everybody to get as much money as they possibly can. But, unfortunately, a wide receiver success is tied directly to a quarterback's ability to deliver the ball. And when you're reliant on somebody to help you do the thing that you do best, it's tricky. It's tricky.
Okay, I was about to say,
let's get into this third game.
And quarterbacks, we got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos, and it seems as though this year Mahomes has not been able to get the ball successfully to his star receiving room because you have Rashee Rice, you have Hollywood Brown, you have Xavier Worthy, you have Travis Kelce at tight end, and they did not seem to click as much this season, and that's probably why they are not. They have no playoff berth.
Yeah, well, Mahomes, we won't see him playing today, but there's been a couple of years now, maybe 2 years, where Patrick Mahomes hasn't looked like the magician that he used to look like. And I can't quite pinpoint why that is, because some of these Chiefs receivers are explosive, have a lot of speed, so they can get down the field, but there haven't been too many big plays from the Chiefs offense this year, down the field. That's just not something that we've seen. And historically, you have to respect the deep ball with the Kansas City Chiefs, but I feel like a lot of teams aren't worried about it anymore. Even once Patrick gets outside of the pocket, which has always been when he's most dangerous, extending plays and making plays down the field. And so for the last couple of years, it hasn't been that way. And the Kansas City Chiefs as a whole, the last 2 seasons, like remember last year, they won I think 8 or 9 games, like final drive. Like it were very, very close, very, very close games. And so the margin of error was so slim that this year we're seeing those things go the opposite way for the Chiefs. I would like to see what they do going forward, because they're in a precarious position. Kelce should be about done, right? And so you take away the safety blanket of Mahomes. What do you surround him with that he trusts?
I don't know if you saw, but Rich Paul was on a podcast with Max Kellerman. And he's like, I would like to see Patrick Mahomes in Dallas. And I was like,
You can tell that's LeBron's agent.
I know, right? He likes
just go where it's lit.
Yes, he likes the wow factor. But I mean, I feel like he shouldn't have put that in the atmosphere, because Jerry Jones, I feel like Jerry's probably going to do everything in his power to do that. Even if it's not even like the Mahomes of, if you get just like a watered down version of Mahomes, it's Mahomes.
It'll do numbers, but with the Cowboys' luck, that's just an injury waiting to happen, or something. Just all of a sudden he turns into Tony Romo, and we got to revisit his historical positioning. You know what I mean? Like we should just keep.
See, that would be the
Patrick
thing,
Mahomes.
Because I feel like Mahomes is going to come in and be like, okay, yeah, I'll come, but you're going to have to protect me. And Jerry's gonna be like, Jerry needs he needs to hire a general manager, like an
Definitely.
actual.
That doesn't come from his loins, one that he didn't shoot up out his own body. Had to do it. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the Denver Broncos this year, man?
I like Denver. I like Bo Nix, former Auburn quarterback. I don't know if we did him the best while he was there, but I don't like Sean Payton though. But Bo Nix, I like. I think they have a really great defense. They're just one of those like sleeper teams that I feel like people just overlook a little bit in the preseason, and then they just continue to show why they're so good. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. I don't feel like the Chiefs have a chance with Gardner Minshew. No offense to Gardner. I like Gardner. He can come in and do some stuff, but in this game, I don't think it's going to happen.
I feel like a quarterback who there's not much game tape on in an individual season always has a chance. Right? Like, and I know he has historical game tape, but sometimes people add new weapons and the guy sitting behind Patrick Mahomes, may have picked up some new tricks. And so I'll give him a bit of a bigger chance than I would just based on who he has been throughout his career. I don't think the Chiefs have a lot of care if they're not playing for anything. And at this point, they're really playing for draft positioning, which is crazy, to think about. So they're better suited to continue to lose, get a higher draft pick, and kind of hit the reset button on some of their positions of need for next year and really the year after that. Because I don't know how long Mahomes is going to be out for with that ACL injury. There's potential for him to miss the entire 2026 season, right? So we got to wait and see.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Well, we did not do score, so let's start here with this game. Okay. Who do you have winning and what score?
For Chiefs Broncos, I got Broncos winning 24-13.
I think the Chiefs are about to get shut out.
No.
I got 21-0.
21-0 is crazy. Not even a field goal? That's crazy.
No. Harrison Butker ain't been making them.
Touche.
I saw somebody say he need to stay in the kitchen. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. All right, Lions Vikings.
Lions Vikings. I got the Lions. Lions Vikings. I'll go 17-14 Lions.
I'm going to try to do some reverse psychology here because I feel like every time I go for the Lions, they lose. So I'm going to go Vikings. They're at home. I was at the Vikings-Lions game in Detroit. The Vikings manhandled Detroit. I was very upset about that. So I'm going to go Vikings.
Are you allowed to do that? What does this do for your household?
I'm doing some reverse psychology. Like I'm trying to say like.
Okay. All right. Okay. Score?
I think it's going to be high scoring. 35-31.
What? Okay.
Because the defense.
And lastly, but JJ, I don't see JJ putting up that many points. Okay. And lastly, we got the Commanders and the Cowboys.
I don't know. Washington just has not been able to do anything. It's so crazy. I'm gonna go Dallas 9-10, 10-9.
What? No. Now the Cowboys should manhandle the Commanders, and if nothing else, Dak Prescott has had a pretty good season. So I'm gonna go Cowboys 28, Commanders 15. Yeah, I think a decisive win for the Cowboys. I don't know. Who cares? It's toilet bowl. All right, sis. Get us up on out of here so I can open some presents and eat other people's pie.
Every time I think of pie, I think of the movie The Help. If you know, you know. But anyways, you all drop down in the comments and you let us know your thoughts on these 3 Christmas Day games. Are you excited about it? Which one are you more excited about? Let us know your score predictions. Are you going to be watching basketball? We want to know all the things. Let us know down in the comments below.
The fact that you mentioned The Help when it comes to pie and not life says a lot about who you are and what your background is. In addition to letting us know what you think about today's games, also, we want y'all to click that link in our bio because we have this newsletter that is just full of information, fun sports stuff. Samaria has hair care tutorials, all kinds of things. So yeah, make sure you click that link in the bio. Samaria, show the people your black ass comb. Let us see that black ass comb you got there. That big White Castle comb. Oh, your hair sound dry. Hey, Merry Christmas, y'all. We appreciate you. Peace.